Welcome everyone to part 1 of the Marriage Audit. Okay, this is going to be a 4-part series where I help smart, conscious, loving women understand what's really at the core of the problems they're having in their relationship. This series is particularly for women who have pretty good marriages. You're like, you know what? I can't really complain. Could be a lot worse. Other people have it worse. And you kind of wrestle with why you're unsatisfied or what really needs to get met. And you might feel stuck, right? If you come to the edge of your, whoa, sorry, that was my desk just bounced. My apologies. If you've come to the edge of your self-awareness around, what's happening in you and what's happening in him, or maybe the stories you tell yourself about him and you are just really stuck stories, like you keep going around in circles over like what he's like and what you're like and how, maybe you can't get your needs met and maybe it's not going to work. So if you're there and you want it to get better, you're a long way from wanting a divorce, but you sometimes wonder like how long you could just be in this status. You've really come to the right place. I'm going to help you understand why really so many women are dissatisfied in their marriages, because marriages end 50% of the time. And of those marriages that end, a vast majority are filed, the divorces are filed by women. And we know from our friends and from everything that even the women who don't get divorced, many of them are not terribly satisfied. So to create a marriage that is deeply satisfying for you is actually a cutting edge and very courageous, and it's a bold move. It's a bold move that shows a lot of self-worth. So I'm really glad you're here and you're contemplating this. So I'm just got my notes down here. I'm going to glance back and forth. So let's talk about why most women are not satisfied. And I feel pretty comfortable saying that. I've talked to a lot of women. I know from my clients that many of the women who look like they're satisfied, who very much prioritize their families and their husbands, maybe they have great businesses and careers, they're like, you know what, something's missing. And some of them are very good at hiding it because they don't want to disrespect their husbands. And they are grateful for what they have, which, this is a dignified, mature woman. So one of the reasons that we are confused and stuck is because society has told us what should satisfy us, right? And society's told us, and our parents have told us, and maybe our religion has told us that, like, if you get a man who's honest and he's loyal to you and he works hard, you should be satisfied. Like, that's a good man, right? And it is a good man. That's great, right? We want to appreciate the loyal, honest, hardworking men in our lives and in the world. And maybe that's all that they told you was needed, right? And you're kind of like, that's great. And I didn't really want that. This is not really enough, right? So loyal, hardworking, maybe he's a good dad. Oh, that's the best, right? You wanted a man who's involved with the kids. You wanted him to care about the kids. He's not perfect, but he values his role as dad, and he's in there, he's involved. So now you really think like, wow, shouldn't I be happy now? So this brings us to the second part. Society told us what should make us happy, what should satisfy us. And so therefore, if we want anything beyond loyal, hardworking, good dad, good provider, honest, we're like, I must be entitled, I must be spoiled, I must have unrealistic expectations. The internet's covered in things like this, right? Men being like, women these days, they're spoiled and they're ridiculous, and all that stuff they want, that's for children. This is real life. We got kids now, we got jobs. So maybe you want more. We're going to talk about that more in this series, what we want and how it's hard to get sometimes. But we've been shamed for that. So we don't even really touch in deeply to what we long for, which is like, a deeper connection, some romance, some playfulness, a truly safe place emotionally. You might want some leadership out of him. You might want him to take a little more initiative with the relationship or with things in general. Sit with those for a minute. What do you really long for? Now, do you feel like those longings are a little bit like, maybe I can't say this out loud, or maybe I know it's reasonable to ask for it, but I probably can't get it, so I should just like get over it, move on, right? I should accept what I have. we have been shamed for not only our desires, but our needs. Okay. Women have deep needs that are not being met in many marriages and many relationships. And we've been shamed for that. We could talk about why, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is that your desires and your needs, they matter. That's important. And if you have an ongoing sense of something's not right, something's not right in my relationship, it's because this need's not being met. Now, does that mean, you got to leave because your needs are not being met? No, that's not my mission, right? That's not my mission. My mission is good women get to stay married and get their needs met, right? That's what I want for you. That's what I, always look for in my own life. And that's what I look for in my clients. That's how I got here. I was like, if I'm not getting some needs met, I'm going to find a way to get those needs met. I'm not going to just roll over and die and wither up like a prune because my needs are not getting met, or I'm not going to go and try my hand again at someone else, right? Now, I'm not judging women who choose differently, but I'm here for the women who want to work it out. Okay, so we've told what should satisfy us and it doesn't. We've been shamed for our actual needs and desires, and we end up confused and stuck because we might start asking for things like, I want to spend time together, or I want to go on date nights. And then maybe he takes you on a date night and it feels weird. He takes you on a date night and it's awkward, or you don't enjoy it, or something about it doesn't feel right. And now you're in a really awkward position because you asked for what you want, you got it, and you weren't satisfied, right? That's like kind of the worst, right? You get exactly what you want and you're not satisfied by it. So that's how we end up stuck. We don't really tap into the need below the need. You don't really need date nights. What you're searching for is the feeling you're hoping to get on a date night. Or maybe you've read articles and listened to stuff that says couples need date nights. So you're like, okay, let's do the date nights, and that will, build our connection. You can't build a connection around circumstances. A date is just a circumstance, just a context, right? You build connection through internal work. And that's what we'll go through in this 4-part series, is we'll be going deeper and deeper into what is the internal work we do to actually be able to inspire and receive what we truly desire and not be chasing all these red herrings, Okay. So in my work, how do I help women get out of this trap, right? Well, the first thing is you got to get real clarity on what you need. You got to get deep soul clarity on, like, this is a need. It needs to be met in relationship. And I'm not going to pave over that. Now, that can be a scary thing to do. There's a real good reason women don't do that, right? Because as soon as you really get in touch with a need, then you get upwells the feeling of it not being met, upwells the experience of like, I haven't had that thing and I want that thing. It can be the way you feel when you watch rom-coms or, witness somebody else in love and you're going, that's kind of how I wanted it to be for me. And it doesn't look that way, right? So I help you get in touch with your true needs and desires, to hold those and nurture them and honor them and value them. Because a lot of the times we can take this like, well, if I didn't have desires, then I wouldn't have bad feelings, right? I want to feel good. So I'm going to avoid my desires. I'm going to, say they're not that big of a deal and get over it. And I think you've probably noticed that doesn't work very well. But allowing yourself to have them and to hold them, it takes a lot of courage. And I help you do that. So that's one of the things that happens in my program, Happily Married Women. And that's what happens in my one-on-one coaching, is we get down right to the root of what is it you need and what is it you desire, and believing that you're worthy of those things. The next thing we do is we work towards seeing your partner clearly. Because there can be so many stories that we put on the men in our lives. There's so many ways that we blame and judge them. There's so many ways that we think we've got them figured out, right? And honestly, often those stories are not constructive at all. They make us feel worse about ourselves. They make us feel like he doesn't like us. We might say, he can't do those things. He's not good at this or that. And then how are you going to move forward into expressing your desires if you've already created a story about how he can't do that, or he doesn't do that, or he's not that kind of guy? So that's the next one. 1, clarity on yourself. 2, clarity on him. And then we understand the playing field. Like, how does that all fit together? How does who you are come together with who he is? And what are the dynamics that have been in play up to this point? Because you didn't get here by accident, and you didn't get here just by him acting some kind of way, right? Any kind of dynamic in any relationship is a shared dynamic. Now, I'm not here to blame you, but I am here to hold you accountable that you are a powerful creator of your life. You are a powerful influence on your husband. You are able to choose how to respond emotionally and verbally and in all kinds of ways. So when we put that together, we talk about communication. And one of the main reasons women are so dissatisfied in their relationships is they don't know how to communicate. They think their husband doesn't know how to communicate, which probably doesn't. But you don't know how to communicate either. So you're both just like talking past each other. Either you're not talking at all, or you're kind of bickering, or it's just boring. And learning how to communicate in a way that really nourishes you, because women have things to get off their chests. Like, we got stuff. We need to express ourselves. That's a huge need we have. And so I always encourage my clients to express themselves with their girlfriends, with as many people as possible, and also with their husbands. But we have to start getting it out on the table and not just stuffing it all down. You cannot feel in love when you're stuffed down with stuck emotion. You're going to feel weird. You're going to feel bad. So that's next up. And so once you understand what is really wrong here, right? How you're not satisfied because you haven't even allowed yourself to know what you truly desire and what you need, then you understand the whole playing field. Then you can be like, okay, what's my next move? What's my next move, coach, right? And I'm going to say, okay, you're going to get out there on the field. You're going to do this, this, and this. And you're going to be able to move with confidence and grace and love, right? You're not going to be going to him and saying, you have everything I need. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. Because that creates resistance, right? You're going to let go of the rope. And you're going to try some new dance steps. You're going to try some new moves. And it can be scary because it's always scary to change patterns. But what I find so humbling and so growth inducing is that when you try to change patterns, it's hard. And you're eager and you have needs. So imagine how hard it is for your partner to change patterns, right? You think, oh, he needs to change and he needs to grow and he needs to heal. And it's like, yeah, probably he does. Most of us have some work to do. All of us have some work to do. But it's not easy. Change is not easy for anyone. And that's why we need support to help us see our blind spots, to give us the confidence to keep going. So if you want that, if you're like, you know what? Yes, let me figure this stuff out. Let's get in there. This below is my Happily Married Woman program. And this is a program for women who want to start today, learning what I teach, learning my real love method so they can create the context for true deep connection. I'm not going to say you have to go on date nights. I'm not going to say you have to do anything. I'm going to teach you how to open your heart, get your courage and express yourself, show up in a way that is inspiring and that is more likely your best chances to create the love you want in your marriage. So if that's interesting to you, click below, check it out. You're always welcome to message me personally, ask me any questions you want. And if you're like, oh, you know what? I want one-on-one coaching. I need to talk to you personally. Message me. We can set up a call. Anyone who takes this program, if they move into one-on-one coaching with me, they get to use that same amount they paid for the course as a deposit for their one-on-one coaching. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to share with you. So this is a 4-part series, Marriage Audit. Today, we've talked about why women are not satisfied. Next week, it's going to be 4 mortal sins of marriage, the things that will take you down. The next one is why friendship is not enough. And then the 4th one will be like about what you really want and how you can really get it. So if this is interesting to you, if you're like, you know what, I'm really going to keep tracking with these, make sure that you tell your friends about it. Make sure you share it on your socials and whatnot. I'm always happy to meet new people, and I'm really happy to have you here and be with like-minded women who are taking responsibility and going for the love they want. All right. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.